I am going to change my life in 6 months by becoming a full-time indie author. To do this, I'm joining author Jenna Streety's 185 Insane Challenge for Writers, starting June 1st and ending on December 31st, 2025. I love the idea of this challenge and her holistic approach, which emphasizes modifying the rules to fit you, your goals, and your lifestyle. So be sure to check out her video where she shares the details, as well as her sibling Jay Henderson Frazier's channel, where they will be doing the challenge as an artist. I'm Kaylee. Welcome back to my channel, and let's dive right into my 185 insane rules that I will be following for the next 6 months. My first one is to write/revise every weekday. I'm not setting myself a specific word count goal just because from my experience writing and with myself, I know that adding unnecessary pressure just isn't conducive to my joy and well-being. Also, if you hear something, that's my dog on the side. Yeah, so for that reason, I will not be giving myself a very strict word count goal to meet every day because I have very fluctuating emotions and energy day to day, and I want to honor that and don't want to feel bad about myself if I'm not meeting certain word count goals, especially because the whole point of this challenge is to grow, but to do it with joy. I really just want to make a consistent habit of showing up on the page every single weekday in a feasible manner for myself, more so than trying to hit a certain number. As long as I'm working towards my goals every day, I'm happy. Number 2 is to have drafts 2 and 3 of my fantasy novel, Immortals of Paradise, done by the end of this challenge. I literally just finished revising Act 1 of 3 acts within draft 2 of my revisions. So I think we're making very good progress, and I'm going to speak a little bit more about that later with that whole goal. A big change, and one that I kind of alluded to in the beginning of this video, if you are not new to this channel and maybe you missed it, maybe not. But the third goal/rule is that I will be self-publishing Project Gold, which is my debut literary fiction novel. I will get into why I made the decision to switch from pursuing TradPub to self-pub later at the end of this video, so stick around for that. I will explain everything about how I came to this decision and why. The goal that I am most excited for is this one, which is to do one author event and sign physical copies of my book. Like, that is just so cool. And out of all the different rules and goals on my personal list that I've modified from Jenna Streety's rules, this is the one thing that by far I am the most excited about and looking forward to, just because that has always been a dream of mine, as I'm sure every author wants to hold their own book in their own hands. And I would just love the opportunity to be able to connect with other people who love my book and characters as much as I do, especially because I've poured 5 years, 5 years into Project Gold. So by the end of 2025, this book will be in your hands. Okay, the next one is to post 3 pieces of content per day on any platform. At first, when I saw this rule, I was like, maybe I won't include this in my set of rules because that just sounds like a lot. But I really thought about it, and she emphasized any platform. So really, I could just go onto Instagram, which you should follow me on, by the way. This is my writing page, and this is my personal. I realized I could literally just open up Instagram and post 3 pictures on my story. Like, that is so doable. It's low maintenance on the days where I just really cannot be bothered with social media. But then it also gives me the opportunity to be consistent with content creation, like posting regular uploads on YouTube and trying to engage more with my community. So I'm so excited for that. I think this is a good step forward in the right direction, especially because I've been in a sort of slump or just like figuring things out for the past few months with how I want to continue on with YouTube. The next one is to join the 24-hour novel challenge hosted in June. So I actually don't know much about this. Obviously, the name is in the premise, which is to write a novel within 24 hours. I will not be doing that, but I want to use this opportunity to really give myself the time and space within June to completely finish draft 2 of my fantasy novel. Because like I just mentioned earlier, I'm like at the 1/3 mark of revising. And I would love to have draft 2 completely finished before June 15th. Because that is when I am going on a trip to Asia with my family. Well, we're going for like a whole month, so I will not be returning until the end of July. So that's a long time. However, I have taken the lessons and experiences from completing draft 1 and then beginning revising draft 2. And that lesson for me was that I definitely should take way more time in between drafts to just let it sit. Because after I finished draft 1 back in January, which I have a whole vlog on that, you can go watch that. I'll link that down below. I celebrated that milestone for maybe like a week, and then I basically jumped right back into revisions. And the consequence of that was that I basically hated my first draft. I just did not feel very happy with it. And now looking back, I can see that I was just way too close to the work to see it objectively. Because now when I read back my first draft, I'm so happy with it. I love the story. I love the characters. I'm like, this is so good. But at the time, it was really demoralizing to read something I had been working on for months and then be like, wow, this is just really bad. So I'm learning from that experience. I want to finish draft 2 so that I can just let it sit, not touch it, not think about it, not revise it for the whole month that I'm traveling with my family, because I want to be just present with the experience and have a lot of fun, give myself that rest and that play that I deserve, because I've been working so hard this year and I don't know when I'm going to get another opportunity to go with my family to Asia. So, although I am setting these rules I'm telling you during the time that I will be in Asia for that 1 month, I will not be doing these rules, just as an FYI. But because of that, I want to participate in this 24-hour novel challenge before I go on this trip so that I can finish the other 2/3 of revisions, which is a very ambitious goal, but I believe that I can do it. I believe. With the help of this 24-hour novel challenge, which I will end up modifying to fit my schedule anyway, because it might be falling on the weekends that I might be gone already. So I might just schedule this challenge in for myself. Maybe I'll call a friend and ask if she wants to do it. But if not, I am perfectly happy doing this challenge by myself, holding myself up in my room and just locking in for 24 hours. The next one is to make new friends online or in person. Yeah, that is something that's been on my goal list anyway. Like, since beginning this channel and everything, I've had the pleasure of meeting so many new author tubers, writers. I've reached out to 3 authors and I've connected with 2 in person. I'm based in New York and I was able to meet up with 2 for coffee and drinks and just get to talk to them in person, ask them about their writing process, their whole publishing process, their journey to publication, just life outside of writing, and it was so great. I want to continue on with that. And also just on my channel, I want to start building more community, especially now that I'm switching over to self-pubbing as opposed to TradPub. When I began this channel, I didn't really have a goal or plan with what I wanted to do with this channel, but now it's becoming slowly clearer and clearer. I'm getting, very clear on what I want out of this experience. And so I'm pouring more of my energy in that direction. And hopefully that unfolds beautifully within the next 6 months. So the next one is 30 minutes of reading per day. And although I've always loved reading since I could read, or even before I could read, I've always loved reading, like having other people read to me. But since I basically just finished my creative writing degree back literally like a year ago from now. So throughout high school and college, I basically stopped reading for pleasure just because the workload of the amount of text I had to read for school was so much that I couldn't enjoy it on my own free time. But since I've graduated, I've been making it a goal of mine to really get back into reading, but mostly books that I really enjoy and will enrich my life. So for me, that has started to include nonfiction books as well as fiction. I used to only read fiction, mainly fantasy, but literary and romance, perhaps, historical fiction. Yeah, wow, you can tell it's been a while since I've really been into reading, but I really want to get back into that. I want to read more within my genre, outside of my genre, poetry, screenplays, nonfiction, self-help, self-development, spirituality, everything. I want to read so much, and I definitely setting myself a 30-minute goal daily is definitely helpful. Cheryl. Oh, this next one is so exciting. It is to find one new hobby that I don't monetize and work on it for the duration of this challenge and hopefully beyond, obviously. The hobby that I'm so excited to start learning about is DJing. If you don't know, I love going to EDM music festivals. I love raving. I just love the whole scene, the music. And when I'm writing, I usually have some sort of EDM playlists playing or some mix on YouTube. My favorite channel for these mixes is Bass Bangers, which I will link here and down below. I have that on, or I'll play my favorite DJ sets. I'll have that on my monitor playing, so I can just be headbanging as I'm writing the more intense scenes, my fight scenes, the conflict scenes, arguments, and it is such a vibe. It helps me access the more intense emotions that I love bringing out when I write. And yeah, I'll just have sets playing or mixes playing, and because of that, I really want to do that myself. Since I love these mixes so much and I love the music so much, even though I love the mixes, I want to have a perfectly curated mix that are all songs that I like. Because even with these mixes that I love listening to so much, there'll be a part where I'm like, this is fire, this is great, I'm so into it. And then they'll play a song that I don't know, that I don't really like. So I want my own perfectly curated mixes that I can set the mood specifically. This is a fight scene I'm writing, I can play this. This is a reconciliation scene that I'm writing, I can play this mix that I've made. I just think it's so cool. I know nothing about how to DJ, or I know very, very little music theory. I took piano and violin when I was younger, but I don't, and chorus and orchestra in middle school, but I don't really consider myself I don't know a lot of music theory. So this will be a very fun learning curve for me that hopefully by the end of this 6 months, I can have at least a few mixes. Of course, I'm saying this as a complete beginner who has no idea what I'm getting myself into, but we shall see what happens. Okay, so that is mainly it for the creative side of this challenge. And like I said, she has a very holistic approach. So it's not just about writing and career moves. It's also about mental health, physical health, taking care of your well-being overall, which I really love that aspect. And I want to incorporate that because I don't want to just push myself to create and not take care of myself as I'm doing that, because I think they go hand in hand. If you're struggling to take care of yourself, you are also struggling with consistent creativity that brings you joy, in my experience. So these next set of rules are more so to do with well-being. And for me, I want to do 10K steps a day, which I've already been doing 3 30-minute walks a day. So I do a 30-minute walk right when I wake up in the morning. I do one after lunch, and I do one after dinner. So to me, this seems like a very doable goal. The next is gym 3 times a week. And my little note to this is that I want to be implementing cycle syncing, so that I want to make it clear I'm not just going ham 3 times a week full on. I do weightlifting at the gym, which I actually very much enjoy. This is not something I punish myself or push myself to do. I actually like working out at the gym and strengthening my body, strengthening my joints and flexibility. This is something that matters a lot to me. I don't know if you know anything about cycle syncing, but if you have a period, the hormones, at least for me, the fluctuations with my mood swings and just how my body feels changes so much depending on what part of my cycle I'm in. So if I'm on my period or leading up to my period, I will not be doing a lot of heavy lifting at the gym. I will still have a workout session, but I'll do something very light. I'll do something like yoga or Pilates, maybe just like a walk if I just really am not feeling it that day. And that way I can give myself the grace to push myself really hard in the gym during the part of my cycle where I'm feeling like high energy, then I can do that. But on the weeks where I'm not feeling as high energy and I'm more tired and more sluggish, and none of that is my fault, that's just how hormones and bodies work, I'm giving myself the grace to take it easier, to rest, and still feel like I'm hitting that goal. Of course, cycle syncing also relates into diet, which is the next thing, which is to stick to a healthy diet. So I have started meal prepping recently, and I want to continue on with meal prepping because that has kind of always been on my, like vision board and bucket list things, or not resolutions. That has always been on my resolution list, and I've always kind of like pushed it off because I just like, oh, that just seems like a lot of work. But you know what's a lot of work? Deciding what to eat for every meal and cooking every meal. So yeah, it's about, this is like an active service for myself, doing a front load of work to make my life easier later. Gym 3 times a day, gym 3 times a week, and stick to a healthy diet. That includes cycle syncing. And when I say healthy diet, I do not mean that I'm always eating like chicken breasts and salad every day. I just mean like I'm getting in protein, fiber, carbs, water every day. That is all that means. And not binging on junk food too much. So that's my healthy diet. The next is to meditate 2 times a day. I already do this. I meditate for 20 minutes right when I wake up and in the afternoon around 3 p.m. Since I've began meditating, that has been another healthy habit that has always been on my resolution list. Since I began, my life has just been slowly improving. I've just had a better relationship with myself, and I cannot recommend enough. It was a journey to get me to start, but once I've started, I can see the benefits. I am by no means like a master or anything at meditation, but I can vouch for its benefits. So if you need any tips or anything on how to get started, just ask and we can try this together. My next one is 5 bottles of water a day and 8 hours of sleep per night with sticking to a consistent sleep schedule. Like I said, that's just important for maintaining your energy levels and health, which then results in more productivity and creativity. In the beginning, I said writing and revising every weekday. So it's important to me that I have the weekends off purely for rest and play. Like Sundays are my rest days. I do not do any type of work on Sundays. And Saturdays are more so like spending quality time with myself or my family, friends, my partner, anything like that, social plans. And sometimes I count Friday as the weekend too. It kind of depends, but you get my point. I'm giving myself breaks and days off and not feeling bad about it. Okay, we're almost done here, but no social media before 9 a.m. and after 9 p.m. I love this just because I think, especially if you're a content creator, it can be too easy to be constantly consuming content. And I want to create like a very strong boundary where no social media, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, anything, any form of social media before and after. Like when I first wake up, I need my mind fresh and clear to focus on the day ahead for myself and not focusing on what other people are doing. Same thing right before bed. That is sacred time to like unwind with myself for the day and setting myself up for success for the next day. And I don't need to be viewing other people's lives during that time. So the last and final rule is to do it with joy and have fun. And this is definitely the most important one for me because all too often I think challenges are associated with stress, hustle culture, grinding, sleep deprivation and worsening mental health, or at least that's what I think. But I want to, especially if I'm going to do a challenge as long as 6 months, this is not just like a 1-day challenge, 1-week challenge. Like I am committing 185 days to this challenge, and I want to make sure that it's sustainable and I don't just burn out, crash out like a month, 2 months in. So yeah, those are all my rules. Now let me speak a little bit about my decision to self-publish Project Gold. So up until now, I have labeled myself as an aspiring author. I've been set on TradPub since I began this channel, but I've decided that querying just isn't for me. I've been meaning to query my debut literary fiction, Project Gold, for a few months now. But every time I thought about it, I was filled with an overwhelming sense of dread. So when I did a new moon tarot reading for myself last Tuesday, I asked what would happen if I self-pubbed my book. The answer that the result of my endeavor would be happiness and success made me seriously consider the possibility of abandoning my TradPub goals to pursue being an indie author. I immediately got so excited, brainstorming ideas for cover art and all the content I can make to promote my book. My choice was clear. I had a path that I dreaded and a path that empowered me. I am tired of waiting for agents, editors, publishers to decide that my work is good enough. It's time to take my future into my own hands. I know that the journey ahead will be challenging, but I welcome every obstacle because overcoming them will shape me into the kind of person who can achieve everything that I am currently dreaming of. I'm figuring it out as I go, but one thing is for certain. I am finally betting on myself. So stick around for the journey. I will be documenting the next 6 months here on this channel. Thank you so much for following along. Let me know down in the comments if you will also be doing the 185 Insane Challenge, and if so, what your rules and goals will be. I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye!